Hi guys, and welcome back to a new episode of Grenzenlos, your dance podcast. I'm here with Lapree today. Thank you for making time for us.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
How are you doing, my love? How's Paris? How's everything?
I'm good. Paris is nice. This whole week I've taken time to like rest and just not worry about business and stuff, but I'm having a really good time. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Like I just told you, I had my Pilates class in the morning, so I got up really early. I was dying
Okay.
in the morning. 7 a.m. is too early
Girl,
to get
that's
up.
too early.
But like,
What
let me
time
tell
do
you,
you-
getting up at 7 a.m. and doing like sports, it's like you feel so
Yeah.
good afterwards, but in the morning you feel like dying.
Yeah, but after you feel great though. You're like,
Afterwards, you feel great.
the world is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have like a lot of topics we're gonna be talking about today. I'm just gonna give away a little for the people so they know what to
Yeah.
be ready for. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna be talking a little bit about Afro history, etc. Generally, Afro is gonna be the topic, and we
Okay.
did not have yet an episode about Afro, so I'm pretty excited to do this one. Yeah, we're also gonna be talking about cultural appropriation. I'm really, really looking forward to this one and to your opinion and what you're gonna tell us, because I think like that's a big, big topic we're facing today.
100%.
Um, yeah, and also like your life, how you're doing, being a professional, dancing, traveling the world, teaching. Um, yeah, so I don't know. Do you have like a topic you want to get started with?
No, that's up to you. I think you
Okay.
can, and I'll just follow, you know?
Okay, amazing. Then I would start, or I would love to start. Or do you want to introduce yourself for a second to the people so they have like a little overview who you are?
Oh yeah, of course.
I
I
think that would be nice.
suppose just because, someone's probably listening, like, who the hell is that person speaking?
Exactly.
So anyways, Lisa, thank you for having me here. So my name is Lapree, Lala. I am from Dublin, Ireland, originally from South Africa. I have a dance school called Southside Moves, and I started the brand because there weren't any Afro dance classes in Ireland. And for anyone who's listening that knows Ireland, Ireland is a very small country, and there's rarely anything happening unless if somebody starts it first, you know? So the whole point of starting those classes was because of the lack of Afro dance classes. And of course, for me, coming from a place where I used to dance almost every day after school, it was like a culture shock to like not find anything that I'm familiar with. So the idea came to start the classes, and it was great from there. It was very difficult in the beginning just because a lot of people didn't understand what Afro was, and there was a lot of problems with identifying people saying, oh, this is an Afrobeats class, but like Afrobeats is a music genre, if that makes sense. And then there was a period of time during 2000 and around 15, 16, where people were like, oh, but it's supposed to be called Afro dance. And, trying to differentiate between the terms is something that was a bit difficult. But when I started, it was more of like, okay, Afro dance class with me, where I'll be teaching Afro dance steps and everything that I knew growing up. So then the brand has been growing up for the last, I say, 7 years. And with that, we've had like really great social media hits where we've kind of gone viral on Instagram and TikTok. And because I love teaching beginners, I think that was what attracted a lot of people, especially from other countries. You know, a lot of people have amazing dancers, amazing instructors, but there's not a lot of people that teach beginners on how to dance. And I know a lot of people in the Western world do love to indulge in African culture, but it's like I can't indulge in something if I don't know the foundation or like the basics of a style, you know? So with social media, of course, I got so many connections through like camps, attending different camps and meeting different people like, Lou, who brought me to Vienna to experience like my second international camp. And with that, I just wanted to leave more so of like a culture of South Africa more than the actual technicality of it, because a lot of instructors, which could be another conversation for later, do tend to focus mostly on choreography. And I feel like choreography is only instant, like only for that period of time and not like it's not gonna stick in someone's memory, you know? Whereas if you teach someone a foundation and you make them fall in love with the style, that's gonna stay with them and they're gonna build up that foundation into something greater, you know? Um, so yeah, so now with Southside Moves, I'm basically traveling, making connections, I'm hosting parties, I'm doing a lot. I don't really classify myself as a dancer. It's more like a multidisciplinary artist who does um loads of things in one. But a creative would be maybe a term to describe me. So thank you for that long introduction.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Oh my God, I did not know that Ireland had like I think it's like a little like I don't know, I have never been to Ireland to dance, especially like I have no idea. But
Yeah,
like Austria, we're also like a small country with like a small scene. So I think it's like really great for people to hear also like you that you
yeah.
build a whole community because like what I saw, your Insta following and whatever you said, like you went viral, you have like a big following now, and you know, you really build up something. And that's like
100%.
amazing. Because I didn't know that, you know, before in Ireland you did not have that, for example. I
Oh, there
just
was nothing like, and plus
Mhm.
also the demographic of people in Ireland is very, very tiny, especially like now we have loads of immigration because of the war in Ukraine. We've had like loads of things because of Palestine and like obviously immigrants coming from Africa as well through different reasons, like what's happening in Congo and Zimbabwe and stuff. So like there's loads of African or like non Irish nationalities there. So obviously like if there's so many people, they're like, where are the classes?
Yeah.
From
Oh my God, I love that. I
yeah.
love that. I did not know because like, you know, I don't know if you even know. I wanted to ask you that. We met in Amsterdam. Do you know that? That I
I
was
do
there?
know that. Yeah.
You did
Afro
not Yeah, exactly. Because I wasn't
Yes.
sure because, you know, just like I'm gonna explain for the people, like she gave a
Yeah. Of
class in Austria and I went to the class, but I wasn't sure if you remember me, to be honest.
course, for me, I
You
usually
did?
just remember faces more than the
Okay.
name.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Like, also did not remember her name, to be honest. I was like, oh my God, I know that girl that's gonna teach. I'm gonna go take her class. I don't remember her name, but I know
Thank
you
you
from
for
your face.
coming.
I
I
loved your
appreciate it.
class. I loved your E for the energy, V for the vibe. You know, I
Bye.
loved your energy. Yes, it was
Thank
so nice. But
you.
I wasn't sure, like, if you remember me, because I was like when I was in Amsterdam, because I started Afro like yeah, approximately like a year ago, like in March, you know,
Yeah, I remember
and
you
it was
told me.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I went to this camp and I was like completely Afro begin. I was so overwhelmed. I was just like, oh my God, can I please go hide? You know?
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, I wasn't sure if we even talked or whatever. I don't know if you remember you. I was like, maybe it's better she did not remember.
I think usually it's just the faces for me. Like once I see
Mm,
you once, it's easy for me
mm.
to remember you. But I think it's difficult when you haven't had a conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
But
no,
I
no.
don't
I
forget
get it.
faces.
Oh my God, I love that. Because you know what always happens to me? I know the person, I know the face. I might know the Instagram name, but I don't know your real name. That always
Yeah,
happens
but
to me.
you know what? I don't want to do. I don't want to be like, "Hey, I know you," and then someone's like, "I've never met you," but I'm like, "Ah," do you know what I mean? Because for me, it's faces. Like
That's
I
awesome.
know once I see you once, like I will never forget you. The only thing I will forget is like, where did I meet you, or like
Mhm.
what happened during that time. But it's like it's a face
Yeah.
that I'll never forget.
No, that keeps happening to me as well. And then I always feel so bad if somebody talks to me. I'm like, I have no idea anymore.
Girl. But now I suppose it's a matter of asking. You know, just like oh,
That's
like
true.
yeah,
That's
let's just be direct here. Just ask.
Oh
It
my
is
God, I
what
love
it is.
that.
You
Yes.
know, fair enough.
Okay,
But
it's
yeah,
a good.
but we're here now.
Yes, we're here now. I love that. I love that. And especially because so now to get like the whole what I actually my point of why I explained that to people is like
Yeah,
when I saw you in Ireland and with all your you have like you had like a group and like for us Austrians it was like
yeah,
oh the Irish people because we were like oh you have like a whole scene and you came as a group so for me like the first impression was like oh my God there's like a big Afro scene in Ireland you know I did not think
no,
that that's why I was surprised when you just told me because for me my first impression when I saw you guys in Amsterdam when I
yeah.
saw you as a group I was like oh my God, they have fucking good Afro dances in Amsterdam. So
Oh
they
yeah,
probably
they
have a scene since years.
we
Yeah.
actually now there's a huge community like
Mhm.
within my brand there's like massive people like I have over 300 students that have been with me for like the last 7 years
That's
so
amazing.
it is quite a lot now but like back in the day like 5 years ago I would have had like at least 15 people 30 people so it's like it's growing now and because of the camps that I used to attend like 2 years ago all of my students would be like, oh my God, what's happening there? I want to go, blah, blah, blah. And then we all decided, you know what, after Oyo Fair that I went to before Afro Drip, they were like, okay, we want to come, but these were the dancers that actually want to elevate their dance to the next level. So we came as a group, and obviously it was a lot of people. And I think because of that, it was I know Ireland seems like, but we're only now growing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was an exciting thing for them as well to
Mhm.
kind of experience dance outside of just me teaching them Afro, if you get me.
No, I'm actually really, really interested into that because, like, I don't know if you know about the scene in Austria, if you have a lot of information. Like, there's a lot of people being hungry for Afro. Like, I think I can say that,
Yeah.
like, I count myself into that as well.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of people teaching Afro, for example.
That's
So,
insane.
yes.
I love
So,
to go back. I just love the way everybody was, like the vibe, the energy. You can feel the
mm,
hunger as well. And I think
yeah.
that's like a teacher's dream.
I think, like, for me, like, I have no idea probably, but like the people that went to this Afro intensive where you taught, I think there were also a lot of people coming from other countries like Slovakia,
Yeah, I was
Republic.
surprised.
Yeah, because I was like, I know the people from Vienna at least from seeing, because we're not many people, your scene. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, I don't know 70% of this class. I was like, they need to be coming from
Hey.
somewhere else.
Yeah, but that actually made me think like I feel like somebody needs to be organizing a little bit more because
Mhm.
I recognize now in Europe there's so many Afro dance instructors that teach different styles, but there's a lack of contacts in terms of like bringing people to cities for like a class
Mhm.
or like a day intensive instead of a camp, if you get me, because I feel
Mhm.
like a camp takes so much and they are quite expensive to be fair, which makes sense because the organizers need to pay so many things in aid of the camp. But it's like if maybe people could start like saying, hey, like I have a studio and they teach these classes. Can you bring this person from this place for like 2 classes or something and maybe do private classes? Because that could be more outreach than just a camp because not everybody can afford to go to Barcelona or go to like, specific countries
Exactly.
with these camps. But if you just bring them to you, it's cheaper for everybody involved. Because
Mhm.
imagine 30 people traveling to a place instead of just bringing that one person with how much you would have spent as 30 people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, completely makes sense. I totally agree. It's like especially for us, like
Yeah.
Vienna, Bratislava, and I think it's Budapest. They're,
Okay.
like, three big cities are really, really close. So like for us to travel, it makes a lot of sense that Slovakian people travel here, for example, for the intensive as well, because it's only 1 hour away. Oh,
Hmm.
so that's
Okay.
amazing as well. Like if you have like the location and the knowledge, and there are people who really want to learn.
Yeah.
But I think like that's also
Fair.
we're gonna get to that later as well. But I
Yeah.
think it has a lot of also to do with the cultural appropriation topic because like people don't
Okay.
want to overstep, and I think like there's people who do want to learn more, but we don't have like pioneers here. We don't have a lot of people who like teach it firsthand. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So we have dancers who are really, really good in Afro, but like what I know, like they say like it's not my place to teach it, for
Oh,
example.
okay. Fair enough. Okay.
Exactly.
What do
Exactly.
you think about that actually? Now
My
that we're
opinion.
speaking about it.
Mhm.
So like for example, I know you're speaking about there's not a lot of, let's say, Afro dance instructors in, let's say, Vienna. And then maybe a local in Vienna decides to teach Afro. What do you think about that as a whole? Because I feel like there's two sides to it for everything really, right?
Yeah, I think like if there's one thing that I've learned in this podcast over the
Yeah,
years is that there's no right or wrong in the dance
fair
world.
enough. A hundred
'Cause
percent.
there's no black and white, there's always a gray zone. And like I think like the most important thing with that is to have the awareness of every
Yeah.
side. It's not about picking sides, what is wrong, what is right. It's more
Mhm.
about having the awareness. So, because I've heard so many different opinions. So
Yeah,
my opinion, and I need to like for really, I'm saying I dance Afro since a year. I don't have a lot of background yet,
fair
you
enough.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
So my opinion is probably out of a different space, out of my experience,
100%.
and that experience is not much yet.
Yeah, fair
So
enough.
I'm honest with that. What I know, also like from other cultures or whatever, I think it's the way you do it. if
Okay.
you're deciding, for example, to teach a culture without having been in this country, without being in touch with people who actually, live that culture, or like it's their, you know,
Sure.
um, exactly, yeah. Just like teaching it out of nowhere because you saw it on TikTok, I think that's not fair to the culture, and that's like not okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you trained with people, if you, even though it's not your culture, if you are aware and if you're open to have a talk, and if you're open-minded to be like, okay, this is not my home. This is a culture that is not my own. Um, I'm a guest. I'm a guest here, and I'm aware of the fact that I'm a guest, and I love this culture. I'm really in love with it. I want to get deeper into it.
Yeah.
I also feel like, maybe it's something that I really relate to in my inner world, though it's not my culture. I think it's really valid that you make it a part of your life as well, because it's also, in my opinion, dance is about sharing.
Mm.
Um, but I think the most important thing is to have like the respect and to know how the scene is working, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because every scene, like even if we talk like about styles, you know, the voguing scene has a different kind of feeling what is right or wrong than the Afro scene,
100%.
or like any other scene.
Any other scene, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that was just
Absolutely.
like an example, you know? And
Mm.
then I think it also like it depends on the country as well, you know? Because I don't know, we might think different about it than Germany does. Because it's a different countries, it's still also like another culture.
100%.
I don't know. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. And I
Mhm.
think with obviously different countries and cultures and stuff, it also boils down to how they view specific countries or specific cultures that are within that space. Because I do find like there's certain cities and stuff that are not so welcoming of like immigrants and stuff. So I feel like that would be difficult for someone else as a local to decide to teach Afro because, like, how are you going to teach when the general consensus says, oh, we don't really accept, immigrants? Because there are some countries that are literally like, it's enough, we're done with this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's a very good, I think, outlook of what maybe let's say is a non-African person teaching Afro um should be like. Because I do think like if you're gonna teach something, you should be well versed in it to the point where it's like second nature to you. Because there's no point of being a student and teaching, because then your grasp of whatever you have learned has not fully been crafted well, then what are you teaching? Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a lot of people now do it for social media gain or like to be recognized as this, or there's like instances of certain people calling themselves like Afro queens of this, and it's like even the actual Africans themselves don't even consider themselves that. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, is it an egotistical thing, or is it a thing to be seen on social media? Like, what is the point of teaching Afro or any style really? Like, it just needs to make sense. And I suppose your knowledge and background needs to make sense for somebody asking, like, if they're saying, oh, I'm coming to teach Amapiano, what do you know about it?
Yeah.
Like, what is it that you know about it? Because Amapiano, from what I see online, is dance challenges and somebody doing
True.
something that's going viral and then everybody jumping on it. But if I asked you, what do you know about the name of that step? Where do you know where it comes from? Who's the creator? Where did it originate from? Where is Amapiano from? They could not tell me shit, you know?
Mhm.
So I suppose it's like, how do we manage that? How do we manage that? It's like an open-ended question, to be fair.
Yeah. I once heard from, I think it's also from an interview that we did with a dancehall teacher,
Yeah,
actually. And this person told me for her, it's like going to the country, speaking the
yeah,
same language, eating the same food, really being with the people. And I actually love that because it's not like just, oh, that's me, that's my culture, but I'm just taking from you. No, I learn your language. I want to
yeah,
be with you. It's like the inner effort you give into
a
the other
hundred
culture as
percent.
well. Because
Yes,
yeah, because like
exactly.
out of my experience is also like what I can say. If you speak the same language, you
Yeah,
understand the dance differently. You
you
understand the culture differently. Because like even though like you might find another language to communicate in, to have like really the authentic language that you're like you know, speaking with the people,
Yeah.
it makes a difference because it's more authentic.
Oh my gosh, it absolutely does. Now that you're speaking about languages, I did realize that because I feel like I've also indulged in a bit of dancehall, but I'm not really like a big dancehall dancer and stuff. But they are so protective of dancehall. Like it's such a beautiful thing to see because there's one thing to have a culture being washed down by popularity. Because I feel like once a style becomes commercialized, it then takes away the essence of what it truly is. And Jamaicans do not play with dancehall. They're like, you need
That's
to
true.
know, like, come to the creators, come to Jamaica. And it's so expensive to go there. But it makes sense why they do that because you're trying to preserve something in its essence. You know what I mean? Like anybody can dance, of course. Like I think it's not so much a difficult thing to teach something, but to live it, to know it, to like indulge in it, like you're saying about knowing the language and knowing it differently,
Yeah.
100% I agree. You need to like go to the sources, go to the country, indulge in that culture. If that's something that you want to share in its essence, I feel like there's different ways to go about it than just teaching. If I know that I'm like, for example, when we did the class with Limpopo Boy, like I know him from growing up. It's insane. Like I know him from growing up, and he has been doing Benga, Budra, and now Survivor Piano. And those are three very different styles, which are now taken from each other because I'm a piano. But the training of it is absolutely insane because there's so much like body isolations and all that stuff. And it's like you spend at least most of your life like learning the style, indulging in it and stuff. And for him to come and teach that specific style, I just feel like one class is not enough.
It was
You,
not enough.
it's not
It was
enough. You
so
need
nice.
more time. Yeah.
But we were running out of time, and I was like, "This is so nice. I want to keep training that." You know, it was
Yeah,
not enough because I was like, I just like, you know, I was just getting the choreography, but I
exactly.
did not have time to really feel it and like get it.
Oh, I know. And I'm like, if anybody plans this and if you're listening, like if you ever plan to bring, because I feel like they come from far already, why don't you plan like I usually when I do like an intensive, I do it for the whole day. For example, I'll have a beginner intensive and I'll have an open level intensive. So it'll be like 8 classes in one day, which is a lot, but like you can capitalize. Like say for example, you haven't done Afro for a long time and you wanted to know about, I don't know, South African styles, if you went to an intensive with like 3 foundational classes, I promise you that's going to be something that's going to stick with you because foundation is all about repetition and
Mhm.
like how does your body feel when you do it, your form, like you know what I'm saying, and like knowing the words, knowing the names, knowing the style, and how do I dance with like how do I dance with my energy with this style? Like, is it chill and flowy, like dancehall, or is it very tough and like emphasis and precise, like Survivor piano? Do you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
feel like if those like intensives have like specific things throughout the day, then you would go home with your cup filled. It's like a lot. It's enough. Do you know what
Mhm.
I mean? But obviously, there's loads of elements to it, like studio bookings and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
So
of
it's
course.
fair, we understand, but it makes sense because these people are coming from a far place, you
Yeah.
know?
No, I totally agree with you, but like, of course, there's like a financial risk that the people take, you know, like I
Yeah,
totally get it as well.
100%.
But
Yeah,
I would
sure.
love to have that. Like, I think like Afro
Yeah.
in Amsterdam was like a good example because
Girl.
we were dancing the whole day, you know, for
Sure. But I do feel like a lot of camps need to invest in beginner camps as well.
oh,
Like if you're going to have a 3-day camp, at least have a 2-day camp within the camp for beginners. Because that's what, like, I love my beginners. I just feel like beginners like move the world because you're in a space where you're a blank canvas. You haven't done this before. You're taking in new information. It's weird in your body, but everybody's experiencing it in the same way, obviously differently, but it's a beautiful thing because you are the person that's going to give them that memory of that style, and it's just so important on how you deliver that. Do you know what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
just feel if we're having camps and stuff, sorry, if we're having camps and stuff, it's amazing for people to, you know, accept to start beginner camps.
I think that's nice because to be honest, It was a lot for me because, you know, I was not like a beginner dancer, but I was like a beginner Afro dancer. So when I went there, I was
Yeah.
like 2 months into Afro. I was dancing Afro for 2 months, and I was throwing
Really?
myself into like an intensive that was like advanced. I was like,
Oh my
it was a
days.
lot. But like, I don't know, like out of my experience, I also think like it helped me a lot to throw myself into the cold water, you know? Like it was still like helping me a lot because I was like, okay, I know we're looking really stupid. It feels really wrong in my body, but like
Yeah.
I know after this 12 hours of dancing, it's gonna feel more natural. And it
It's
actually did
gonna feel
help.
natural. Oh,
It
really?
actually did help, yeah. Because
Okay.
like
So,
now your class, like the intensive we just
yeah.
had, I already could focus like on other stuff already, you know?
Wow, okay.
I think like what's most challenging as well for
Yeah.
me as a beginner in that intensive, we were dancing without mirrors.
Oh, right. That's so good though. I love that.
It's really, really nice. I love it, but like for being a
I
beginner, it feels wrong in your body. You have no idea how it looks. You're just like with 10,000 people around you, you're seeing shit and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, you know?
Because that's so good because it trains you about the feeling. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because I feel like we obviously have five to six senses, right?
Yeah.
If you close your eyes, you feel and hear better, right?
Hmm.
The same thing with like not seeing yourself, because it's more about like the feeling. I know I can't see how stupid I look, which is good. Because if you see yourself looking crazy, now you're going to be self-conscious and not focus on the dance, and you're going to miss what the teacher's saying and all that stuff. I love no mirrors. I think it's just a brilliant way of learning. I love my mirrors, I'm not gonna lie. Like with anything, I'm just like, does the studio have mirrors? Yeah. But in an intensive, it's like also to see everyone else, how are they moving? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like it's just an out of body experience. It's really nice, I think.
I'm just like, I'm used to that from, I was training technique for years,
Yeah.
jazz-ish, modern stuff.
Thank you. Okay.
And we mainly trained without mirrors. And like
Okay.
that's a feel because we get like you know all the shapes, all the technique. I'm used to practicing my turns, my technique without a mirror. So
Ah,
that's a thing where I have like I think that was really really good because now I know like I know where my lines are, but I don't need to see them, you know? So I
fair.
totally get what you mean. I just have it
Okay.
like my experience is like in another style with that. So I know it's good, but it
Yeah.
was still overwhelming AF.
It is overwhelming, to be fair. Like I absolutely get
Yeah.
that. This is why I feel like we need beginner classes 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
there's necessary. I know that Oyofe did two beginner camps within their camps as well. They had we went there in December and this time they had beginners. So I brought a couple of my beginners to come to the classes just to experience different styles, and it was obviously mind-boggling because I feel like when you start off a style, for most people, it's like, okay, I'm a piano and I'm learning Afrofusion, yay. But then they experience other styles like Afro house and coupe de calle and like, like different styles that they did there. And for them, it was also a challenge to do it without the mirrors, but it was like, it feels good in my body and I don't have to worry about how stupid I look. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that was like a really good experience. And also from a teacher's perspective, to be able to see that, I think is a nice thing.
Yep. No, I also think like it was good luck for me because of course we did videos in the end, you know.
Yeah.
And I even was surprised from one from you know like 1, 2, 3 videos. I was like, oh, it doesn't look that bad, you know, because I was really feeling
But
it.
at the time, you're like, ah,
Yeah, exactly.
like I'm messing up so much, I can't.
Oh
And then
my
you
God.
see the video, like, oh, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. But you know, it was those videos that I really felt, you know, where it was feeling the music, where I was feeling the vibe. It was those videos where I was forgetting about, oh my God, do I look good or not?
That's
It was
great.
those, yeah.
Oh man, it's just a whole mental game. Like it's absolutely amazing to see,
Mhm.
especially to evaluate afterwards that, okay, this is how I could feel and this is how I feel now, you know?
Yeah,
Ah,
totally.
well, there you go. That's interesting.
No, it's really, really interesting. Like, I don't know for especially, you know, like dance on Afro, I started them like similarly at the same
Yeah.
time. And for me, like it's a year ago, and I'm like, okay, I can really like follow my progress because you know it's just like a year. And
Mhm.
it's really, really interesting. Like if you once understood what is like the essence of a style for your body, you know, what's the posture, what's the I think like the posture you're in, like once you like got that, everything is much more easier. Once you get the essence and the spice, how it's like, you know, what's the essence of it, it makes a lot easier everything. But you need to really kind of get to the point where you can like, you know, you need to watch the people and, you know, realize what
Yes.
it is, what do I need to change.
100%. I agree
Yeah.
with that. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with that. Well, there you go. I think learning as a whole is just like a different experience for everybody. And I think we're so blessed to have like people that organize all of these events and stuff for people to
Yeah.
the chance to learn from different sources and stuff like that. And it just brings you, I think it does bring you to a different mentality as a whole about like dance and culture and integrating with different people and having to make connections from different parts of the world. Because I do feel like now a lot of people that I've seen, like, and I love to see it, go to different countries like Ghana to go train with like specific creators of those styles, and they go to like, you know, like Angola and stuff. And I think it's an amazing thing. And I think a lot of Africans do love seeing like a lot of people come over to like, you know, learn, have an intensive dance outside, not worry about the studio, you know, like having that full experience. It's just, it's a different feeling. And I feel like you come back with a different mindset as well, you know, and also just maybe a respect for a culture because you know exactly the basics and the history of it and the foundation and all that stuff. And I think that's very important. But I also do recognize that a lot of things are, especially with social media and TikTok and how quick we receive information, how invalid it could be as well, you know? Like different people do have arguments online about like, oh my God, this step is not the right name of the step, or this is not the creator. And like I have an Instagram, Southside Moves, that we do some tutorials and we try our best to like name the correct names of the steps according to where they're from. And sometimes it's difficult because, let's say, for example, like recently I uploaded a video that had Ghanaian steps, and one of the steps was called Bato. And I've known this name for the last 2, 3 years, and I've known a couple of creators and dancers to call it that. So when I was like, when I put it as like 5 steps you should know, one of the like OGs of the Ghanaian community texted and it's like, oh, the name of the step is actually this. And I'm like, oh, that's weird because this is what we've known it for. I'm from this other OG creator. He's called it this. So it's like a very difficult thing when you don't do research because it's like you need to find at least more than one source about a specific thing, you know? Because what I do notice with like classical styles, there's textbooks and there's a sourced a history of what specific styles come from, what the names are, like pliés for, you know, contemporary
Yeah.
dancers or like ballet and all that stuff. It is very much like this is this and that's that. And I know with
Exactly.
Afro, it's difficult because as much as because dance did start in Africa, as much as it's been there for multiple years, it's different because we don't have books, we don't have schools, we don't have verified sources or universities where they can say that, okay, this is how you get graded according to this style. And we don't have schools like where kids learn ballet from 4 years old. We don't have that. We learn dance from the streets, and there's not so much of a dance class setting where there's a teacher that comes and be like, okay, this is the first step. The learning, the learning curve that we have, it's dancing in the streets. Like when I grew up and I used to go to school and come back home, I would come back home very late because we would have ciphers, which now are called ciphers, but we would have ciphers on the streets and people would come in and just start dancing. And within that dance itself, we would learn, oh, this is the step of this, but there wasn't any names. We're like, we're doing this style, we're doing this, we're doing this. And it was an overall like sharing and learning experience. And within that, you take that and you grow with it. And they would have like competitions for like national, international TVs and stuff, and you would do it there. But even during that, there wouldn't be any like structure, if that makes sense. It's like there's not much of like we would say, okay, this is the style. These are the specific styles. Like there's benga, there's bourgeois, there's and there's amapiano. So they had different eras of their time of being popular, and now it's amapiano. But now, but back then they didn't have specifically a structure to say you're gonna go to school for this. We're gonna get graded according to technicality, according to specific categories. It was more so like, this is the style. It's on TV now. This is moving on. This is doing this. It's on music videos. People are using it in America. People are doing X, Y, and Z, and that's that, you know? And I think now it's only becoming more structured and stuff, and instructors are really trying to make it more of a more like a university learning. Because I know that Isaac MLK has the African Dance Dictionary. If you don't
I know that one, yes.
it's very, very good because it gives people a general consensus of what Afro dance is in in its essence. But it's also difficult because as much as he sources this information, sometimes it might not be accurate according to, you know, people in Africa who feel like that's not the name of the step, you know? But how are we to know because there's nothing that is sourced? So it's all about if you have at least 4 or 5 people that say that this is this, then that's your, I suppose, your guideline and how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I think now with people doing camps and stuff, they're trying to make it a structured thing to like, I've learned Afro from this camp, and here's a certificate to say that this is what I've learned. And Ghanaian instructors and Ghanaian schools are also trying to make it, you know, structured more. Um, yeah, but I just thought of this because I was just thinking about how different styles are so like they have their own like specific structured courses and all that stuff, but I can't go to university for Afro, you know? And I think
Yeah.
it's also difficult because in Ireland as well, like I was telling you, it's a very small country. In order for me to be able to teach in national schools, I needed to have qualifications to say that I went to school for this. But in explaining it, I'm like, I can't say I'm qualified for this through a paper because this is something I've danced my whole life in the streets. It wasn't in
Yeah.
school. And in order for me to explain that, like, it's like, okay, you can see me dance, you can see me teach. That's enough for you to say I am qualified. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's a very difficult process, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I feel like it's a very broad topic as well.
Oh my God, yeah. Here's a really raw thought that I just had, to be honest. I think like maybe the European way of thinking, because like our culture, like you said, we have like this. I actually look, I actually do have like a book here that's like all the ballet technique, you know? I have like it's like already in here, and
Oh,
you have all that. This is like a plié and whatever, you know?
now that you've said that, by the way,
What's that?
Reflex has brought out a book for
Mhm.
anyone listening, and it's an Azonto guideline book. And I think
Oh, okay.
is on there, information of the styles, and he's gonna have a history section on in
Oh,
the
I
book.
love that. That
That
is
could be
so
something new.
nice. That's so nice. Oh my God, I love that. That's stuff that we actually do need because like wait, let me get to my back to my other thought before I lost it. Yeah, lose it. Oh my God. Okay, so because I think like our European way of thinking, because like you know, this is more like our culture, because that's like a culture that also grew up here, you know. We're really like, okay, this is
Mhm.
this and this is that. And I
Mm.
think like maybe it's like a really rough thought because like I'm not in the position. Um, the people who would be like in a position to teach Afro but don't do it, maybe it's also like the reason because we're used to we have really strict guidelines and we know it's like a there's like you know a lot of names and different names and like if we make a mistake with that because it's not our culture, it's real like oh my God, let's rather like leave it to the people who really know it. But like you just told me like for you it's your culture, but there's another person that also knows like the step but differently, you know, like
Mm.
how do you cope with that it's not like a problem, but like it's a you know like a
Mm.
difference in how with that little situations. And I think that's also like a thing because like a cultural thing because it's not my culture. I have
Mhm.
no idea. Don't have the sources, you know,
Yeah,
like here, you know.
yeah,
So
a hundred.
maybe that's like also a reason why for us, like you said, but like that's exactly the reason why it's important to have like the camps, etc., to be like, oh, I learned from there and there.
Yeah.
But I think that might be a reason why there's like people not. feeling ready to teach it because we're aware of the fact that it's like, you know, it's not like there's no strict guidelines.
Ah, okay. But I also do feel like there shouldn't be a general rush to teach a style. I
Yeah.
like take your time and learn
Mhm.
from specific sources. Like, and I do feel like if, let's say, for example, you wanted to start teaching, I don't know, Azonto, I feel like that should be something you're taking your time with because I personally, I can teach Azonto because I've been doing Afrofusion for a very long time and I do train from sources and stuff, right? But I can't call myself an Azonto instructor because I haven't been to Ghana. I haven't learned it long enough for me to be like, I'm an Azonto instructor, do you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? And I think the fact that we're saying that there isn't enough guidelines and like, you know, a structured way of like I suppose examining a process to know if somebody has been qualified, it makes it difficult to know who can teach.
exactly.
Yeah, so I think there's like it's right and wrong, but there's no rush. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no rush to just jump straight into teaching it. And I think what people can do, like if you want your city to have that, invest in bringing people over, because I feel like that could make like maybe start a studio, dance studio, and then bring these people over and open these gateway communities, or like bring an instructor to teach teachers to be able to teach it there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain ways of how we can grow instead of someone saying, "Oh, I learned this dance from YouTube." It's like, yeah, but it's YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I totally
Um,
know what you mean.
do you mind if I charge my uh laptop because it's about to die?
Yeah, no, please go ahead. Don't leave me alone.
Like, I might leave now. Sorry. Okay. Now, I think that's the good time. Yeah. Nice. Okay. We're live.
That's actually a topic that I have been talking with many people in the past time, general, like also in other styles, that
Yeah.
there's a rush of people wanting to teach and that they don't take their time. I have been talking about that with some people in the past
Okay.
weeks. So I think like what you just told me, like with what gives you like the credibility, you know, to teach your style, what makes you credible that you're like in the position to teach it. I actually love that you like pointed out with, oh my God, now my laptop is dying. No, we're
Ooh,
fine. Okay,
it's okay.
we're fine. Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay. Okay.
I
Cool.
just got
Cool.
like a notification. Um, I love how you phrased it, but I can't remember how exactly you phrased it now.
How not to rush to teach, is it?
Exactly, and
Get
like to
time.
really get yourself into the culture, to take your time to really dive into it.
Yeah.
You get like the credibility, you know?
A
Because
hundred
like
percent.
I think like if you don't feel like you can teach or like you're teaching a culture, but like kind of if you can't bring it to people in an authentic way, you should not bring
Yeah.
it to people. If it doesn't feel natural to you and you don't have completely have it in you, like you're never gonna
Yeah.
have it completely 100% because it's not your culture, you know?
100%. I think the person I can speak about actually with this example, do you know Olivia from Poland?
I do not.
Okay, so
Not
Olivia is, she's like my dance sister, my twin actually. She is Polish, she's white. She has been dancing all her life. Like she's obviously done I think she's done ballet and stuff. Um basically some classical styles. And she started Afro a couple of years ago and she has been doing really well like within her classes in Poland because there's literally no Afro dance in Poland.
Mhm.
But for her to start, she used to travel to so many people's classes. Like when I look at old videos, I see Olivia. I see Olivia. Like she's in everyone's class. She traveled to Ghana and stayed for like 3, 4 months. I don't know if it was less than that or more, but she stayed there for like a long period of time to learn from the sources. And when she came back to Poland, like her teaching style, amazing, and the technique and everything that she learned the exact same way as somebody from Ghana would. And that I think a lot of people agree with because it's like you're teaching the right thing. And I think the problem is not so much about the type of person that's teaching. It's the content that you teach and what people do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I taught like Dobeta,
Mhm.
yes,
Yes.
and I didn't do it the right way, that means 30 people know it the wrong way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think the way that we appreciate Olivia and everything that she does is because she always goes back to the sources. You see her in every camp, you see her in intensive. She's in South Africa at the moment to learn like a couple of South African styles, and she's meeting up with all of these people that create specific steps, like she's just like, I think, a great example in showcasing a non-African person teaching Afro in her country. And she does do camps where she brings specific instructors over to come and teach her students. And I think that's just a brilliant way of going about teaching. And it wasn't a thing where because she was already dancing, um she just started teaching Afro. It was a thing where she went, did the research, and is still learning in the midst of teaching, but the technique, the groove, the vibe, everything is there. I just wanted to add her in this because I just realized we're speaking about what we would like for the Afro community, and then I remembered she's already doing that.
Okay. No, I actually love for you to give us this example because I think like for many people it's like, what do I need to do it right? You
A
know?
hundred
So
percent.
you giving the example, living the culture, it's
Mm,
like really, really valuable, I think, for people who did not
mm,
grow up in the culture. Because I
100%.
think it's like, okay, maybe somebody that's listening to this right now is like, okay, that's what I need to do to, you
Yeah.
do it in a respectful way. And I think that's really, really important.
It really, really is. And I think it really, really is. And I think for people to be able to accept that also is a privilege in its own because people are stubborn out here. Oh, you can go through a lot with trying to like explain that to somebody. And if they have a different mindset, it's like, how do you change that? You don't really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like that's a very mouthy topic, to be honest.
Yeah. All right. I want to go to step back because I have a question actually. What was the reason that you moved from Africa to Ireland?
Oh, that's a
There-
good
Yeah,
question.
because I haven't asked you yet. Like you told me it was when you were 18, 19-ish?
Yeah, about 18,
Yeah.
19, I moved to Ireland.
Mhm.
It wasn't necessarily because I was like, I saw Ireland on the map and I was like, I want to go
That
there.
it is.
What happened was my mom used to work as a chef back in the day.
Mm.
We used to live in Cape Town, and she used to have a very like great, like my mom is just an amazing person. She used to have like great connections with a lot of tourists, and a lot of people loved coming to Cape Town, and it was a very touristic city. So she made so many connections within the restaurant, and she got invited to come to Scotland with my aunt.
Mm.
And when they went to Scotland, they obviously loved the place and everybody loved them as well. And they came during a time where there wasn't a lot of Black people. And my mom has a massive afro. So immediately people are like drawn to her, like, oh my God, your hair is amazing. And yeah, so I think she became very memorable and she loved Scotland. And within Scotland, they visited neighboring cities like Belfast, Ireland, and the UK. And I think the people that invited her, she didn't even know them and she went. Now that I think about it, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, you don't know these people. But anyways, so
I
they went to,
love that.
I know, like, because that could be a serial killer, but okay. She went to Ireland to visit. And she really liked the place. And I think around 2013, 14, she decided, she would like a change because we had moved to Johannesburg at the time. And she just wasn't happy with, I don't know, life in general. She decided, oh, maybe let's just go to Ireland and stay there for a couple of years and see how we get on and stuff. And when we went to Ireland, just immediately fell in love with it, fell in love with the people. Like, people in Ireland are the best, loveliest people, like genuinely the most welcoming, the most lovely, like anyone would stop and help you in a heartbeat. And I think also that has huge influence in how we treat each other as a group. Because I did, like when you were speaking about Amsterdam, Afro like everybody's so supportive. Like we will hype you up. It doesn't,
That's true.
for me, it's like, it's not just about a clique, you know, because there's specific groups that feel like, oh, like nobody can go there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
That
like,
I do know, yeah.
yeah, but then for us, it's more of like it's an Irish culture thing. Like you embrace everybody, we welcome everybody. Like that's how I met Lou, the girl that organized for Vienna classes. I met her in Amsterdam, and like we didn't even know her then, but it was like, girl, come through. It's a vibe. We met Ivy from Amsterdam. Like we made so many connections that time, and that's just like an Irish thing. But yeah, so I think what made my mom fall in love with it was just the fact that everybody was so welcoming. And obviously, like loads of places in Africa are not very safe. Like there's loads of theft and there's loads of like people killing each other through um not having enough stuff and wanting to steal people's things. So I think it was a thing of safety as well for herself and just peace of mind. Because there's one thing I love South Africa, but like I obviously can't leave the house with my phone. You know, like I can't, there's specific things that I can't do because of how corrupt specific places are. And we didn't want to live feeling scared all the time that someone's going to break in or do X, Y, and Z. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I suppose that was one of the reasons why we decided to move there. And when I moved there, I was like, what? It was a great thing because I usually adapt very quickly in like people's like I suppose culture and like understanding how people operate and stuff. But I think what made it easier is how loving and welcoming Irish people are. And yeah, so I've been there since, but frequently I do travel back to South Africa.
Mhm. I think it makes such a big difference because, like, if people are welcoming, if you go visit another country, you don't only return for the country, you return for the people.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
because I
love
mean,
that.
we're gonna be living with people. Like, for example, I'm in France. Like, I'm gonna say it. I don't care. People in France are so rude. Y'all, they are so rude. Like the culture difference is like,
Mhm.
just smile. It's okay. I
Um,
just I
yes.
can't. It's too much. Like last time, like
Mhm.
that what I usually carry like 3 power banks just for in case. Like you never know. But last time like most of them don't even speak English as well. And I'm like, my French is literally basic. Like I'm still learning right now. But I was in town. I was trying to find directions to go to a metro. It wasn't very clear. Like there wasn't any signage as well. Because I think it was like a new metro entrance that they were doing. So I'm trying to ask, like, hey, can you help me help a girl out? I'm trying to get to this place. No. And I'm just like, I don't want money. No.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, you know
Oh my
what?
God.
For a black person and ask because at this point it's just freaking annoying. And even so, like it was such a mentalist thing to do, but they are also mean. They're so rude. But yeah, I just had to say that there because loads of people here are just. It's not everybody, of course, but it's just the general public. Is
Yeah.
no.
I went to Paris myself like some months
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And it was for me as well. Like I think I also went dancing there.
Oh,
And
right.
I think
Okay.
like
I love the
everything,
dancing here, though, to be honest. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to a couple of classes tonight and tomorrow and
Mhm.
tomorrow. I'm excited. I love the dancing, but they're rude. Sorry, keep going. I have
No,
to
I
say,
just wanted to agree with you because like it was like
yeah.
general on the street, like people were actually helping us. Like it was fine, you know? It was just like a different thing because like I don't know, like me asking at the reception for like, oh hi, I would love to take this class. The person was like, you're talking English to me. Um,
Parlez-vous français? No.
no,
Parlez-vous English?
no.
Why you don't learn French? And it's like you learn English.
And they
English is a universal language. Like, excuse me.
and they keep on talking French to me. And I'm just like,
Yeah, literally. Oh, girl. Like there was, I was going to a mall because I wanted to get something, right? And like obviously men here are very forward. Like if they like you, they immediately come and they talk to
in
you.
Ireland,
No, 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 in France. 'Cause
in
I
France.
was
Oh,
in
oh yeah,
Spain.
that is true. That is true. Yeah.
So forward. And I'm like, oh, I actually like that. But anyways, I went to the mall. And when I went to the mall, this guy came up to me. Like, I mean, I'm like, I obviously have a boyfriend, but I'm not really interested in having conversation, but I won't be rude to you until I know what you want. Because
Yeah,
they could be asking for directions, or they could just be like,
exactly.
they need help with
Mhm.
something. But this guy came up to me, and like I just think I knew straight away.
Mhm.
But he was like, "Oh, bonjour, ça va?" That's me speaking French. Uh, and then I'm like, "Sorry, I speak English." Then he was like, "Bonjour, bonjour, just my impression of him speaking French, but like, I speak English, I don't understand you. Then he was like, "No, he didn't even try to speak English. He kept on going with French."
I
And I
know.
was like, "So what do you want me to do with this conversation? I can't help you. I don't know." Then he was just like,
Yeah.
"My phone number? No, I don't speak English." So I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't speak French." But the man was asking for his number, but it was like, "Sir, like,
Yeah.
at least learn English. Please."
Yeah.
Hurts
Mm,
hearing it.
No, I have to feel like if you like for me, like like once I was in the class, once I was
Yeah.
like in the classroom, I was asking one girl because like there's like different stuff like in some stores you're allowed to wear like your street shoes inside and some not. You have no idea like what's the cultural thing in the studio. So I was
Yeah.
just like asking her like, is it like where do you wait? Where do you already can go in? How is it? Because it was like weird, because I wasn't
Yeah.
used to it. And then she was like really, really nice and showing me around and introducing me to everybody. Then it was nice because she was speaking English fluently. But like at the reception, I was like, I was so lost. And it was just like, I was really like, oh my God, this person does not want to talk to me. And then he like answered me like just in like in broken English, yeah, here's your ticket and go. I was like,
Bruh. But there's this app, Google Translate. It does the talking thing. It helps.
That's what I mean. Like if you like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I don't speak French. I speak four other languages. Please choose any other of those, but I
At
don't speak
least, yeah. Or just English because that's why it's there. Do you know what I'm saying?
exactly,
I feel like if
exactly.
we couldn't speak English, we wouldn't be able to communicate as a world, like a
Yeah.
universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, Damn, it's just so interesting. But you know what's so interesting now that I thought about it? The fact that we I love the fact that we can communicate in English, but in a dance class where the instructor can't speak in English, they can communicate with their body. Isn't that nice?
That's really nice, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I had that when I went to Latin America last summer.
Yeah.
And back then, like now I do speak Spanish, but like back then I was just like, I was really lost. And they have like an accent as well. I was
Mm.
standing in the classes.
Mm-hmm.
I did not understand shit. I did
Girl.
not understand shit. But it worked. It worked out. And that's also like another thing, like
Body.
it did
Yeah.
right. And also like for me talking with the people,
Yeah.
they did not speak English, most of them. So but they wanted to talk to me, and I think that was like the difference to the French people, because afterwards I went to France and was like, oh, this is so different.
Yeah. No, here they
Yeah.
don't. They don't. But
Yeah.
some do try because they're like, oh, I can practice my English. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
cute. I
No,
love
there's
them.
always some cute ones. It's like you
Yeah.
can't generalize it, obviously, but I get
Uh-huh.
what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. But it's
Yeah.
just very interesting. Like the more you travel and see different places and how people react, like it's very, very interesting. When I went to Spain as well, we went to Barcelona for the
Hmm.
summer for the camp and also in winter time.
Hmm.
It was just so interesting because of how, as much as they couldn't speak English, it was more like, I'm still gonna talk to you, I'm still gonna include you, I'm gonna try
Yeah.
my best to like learn or like say specific things, even though they know like three words in English. You know what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
just interesting because of the cultural differences and all that stuff.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
also, I read an article somewhere that Ireland is actually the number one country in Europe where people come to learn English.
That could be really true because like when I was in school, we were planning like
Yeah.
like a language course abroad in Ireland as
Yeah.
well. And then Corona hit us. But like actually we were also going to Ireland for learning English, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you
Mhm.
go. Right. Is there anything else you would like to know for the
Oh my
podcast?
God. Like I think there's like okay, one thing that I would still love you to include. Do you want to give us like a small overview like of the styles, where it comes from, etc. Just to keep it like a
Yeah.
small, yeah?
Yeah, so I can just
Okay.
keep it brief because I also want to say that there's, I think, 54 countries in Africa. I definitely won't hit
Yeah.
like half of that, but I'm gonna tell you what I know from
Mhm.
experience and stuff. So for those that are listening, we have Afro beats as a style of music, okay? And then we have other different styles of music genres within Africa. And Afro beats is the most popular one because it was popularized by Fela Kuti from Nigeria. He is basically the pioneer of this music style. He brought up Afro beats to like instruments, and it's got like a specific percussion to it than different styles like, you know, amapiano music or like as well. So Afro beats is basically the most popular music genre in Africa from my knowledge. That could be updated, but this is what I know. And then there's obviously other styles of music. The reason why I'm including Afro beats is because a lot of people confuse Afro beats to Afro dance, you know? So some people say Afro beats class, but it can't be an Afro beats class because Afro beats is a music
Mm-hmm.
genre. So now we call the style Afro dance. So Afro dance is not specifically one style. Afro dance is an umbrella term for all African dance styles. So that could include Azonto, which is from Ghana, and there's also different styles from Ghana. Azonto is just one of them. There could be Coupe de Calais from Ivory Coast. Again, there's different styles within Ivory Coast as well that I didn't mention. They could be Amapiano, which is from South Africa, or Benga, which is also from South Africa. There's obviously different styles like Bantula and all of that stuff. Then there's Afro House, which is a dance style as well from Angola. There's also different African dance styles within Angola. These are just the most popular ones within each country. There's Ndombolo, which is from Congo, but there's also a different one from Brazzaville, I think, if I'm not saying the wrong thing. They have different styles with there. There's Cham, which is from Gabon. There's also Jazze, which is from Gabon. And we're actually very lucky to have Jazze because the actual creator of Jazze, Kobija, is still alive and he's still teaching. You can find him in different camps actually, but he's actually still creating. And last week he created a new move within the style Jazze. Like there's different ones. I can't really think of about a lot of them now. Um, yeah, so I listed about seven. So those are like kind of the popular ones that I know now, but I do know that there is more. But all of these specific styles have different steps and combos and for each of them. And because we call it Afro dance, that's what you can teach under Afro dance, if that makes sense. Um, the reason why they started the camps was for people to be able to differentiate between different styles because of the confusion between Afrobeats and Afro dance. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so when somebody teaches Afrofusion, that means that they're taking and picking from different styles. So I can have like do beta or like beta kick from Amapiano. I can have loketo or camera from Dombolo. I can have like Chakoli Balance from Dombolo as well. I can have different styles from different steps from different styles within Afrofusion, and then I can put it together using Afrobeats music, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So how to differentiate different types of music? Every style, every music has something distinct about it. One thing I do know about Dombolo, I love Dombolo. Like their type of music is so long, like 8 to 10 minutes of that. And it could be just like a live band that's playing over and over. And then they don't specifically have artists, which they do, but they have a hype person that does the Zigama, yeah, hey, Zigana, yeah, like they do a lot of this. This is a very bad impression. Whoever's listening, please don't come for me.
You did
But
amazing.
literally, they have the people that go with the band, the hype, the musician, and the dance. So it's like a whole cultural thing. And they did have this in Oyo Fair. If you do have a chance next year, you definitely need to experience Oyo Fair at least once in your life, to be honest. It's an
Okay.
amazing experience because they do have live performances, they have theater performances, they have like classes on its own, they have cultural talks. It's a very, very like ongoing. It's like going for university,
Mm-hmm.
literally. But yeah, so within all of these styles, there's different type of music on how to differentiate the styles. Like gum is very much like ding 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 ding. Ding. They use a lot of like guitars, they use a lot of bass and stuff. Then amapiano is very much like percussion, like it's all about how building up the sound is. If you notice, like amapiano songs are also long. They
Yeah,
start
I
off with
did.
like one step, one type of instrument, then they add on another instrument. They add the piano, they add the log drum, and actually, log drum was an accident. The person that created log drum created it. I think it was 2007. Don't remember, but it literally was a mistake in the studio. But it sounded so good, and he added it to the song, and everyone was like, "What is that sound?" From there, Amapiano became popular. But um, how to differentiate between all of these styles, it's all about listening, to be honest. It's like listen to different music. I think we're so lucky having social media at the tip of our fingers and having the internet because you can find access amount of information from there on which style to do. And the information is not too inaccurate. There's loads of stuff that you can find from Spotify, YouTube, and stuff. And also, if at any point you feel like you can't find anything, you can ask your local instructor,
Mhm.
about sources and stuff. But yeah, that's an overview about what Afro dance is as a whole. It does have different styles, different types of music that you can indulge in. And yeah, that's all I can say.
Thank you so much for the overview. I think then there's only one thing left that I do want to address, and
Okay.
then I let you go.
No worries.
Um, you're gonna start your talk show. I think when
Yes.
this episode is gonna be published, I think it's gonna be like in March-ish, in
Okay.
late March. Your talk show will already be published, right?
Yes, I'll have it published in 15 days.
Oh my God. Do you want to tell us real quick what it's about so people hopefully also, oh my God, my voice, go over to your page and check it out? Because I think like what you told me, it's a really, really great project. So
Oh,
please
thanks for plugging me. I
let us
appreciate.
know.
So I'm starting a podcast, but it was meant to be a talk show because I'm going to do it in person in Ireland. But because of social media, we have to do a podcast. We love to hate them, but they're there for those that care. So this one is called Dancer's Corner.
Mhm.
It's Let's Talk About It podcast. I basically wanted to create a podcast to speak about difficult issues or difficult things that happen within the dance industry that people are so afraid to talk about, or if they do speak about them, it's within themselves or it's hush, it's whispers, like topics about cultural appropriation, people wearing braids or doing cornrows, or like what we spoke about today, like non-Africans teaching Afro dance, specific things on Instagram, like doing challenges and not having long videos anymore, no
Mhm.
concept pieces, like, and I'll definitely be bringing like loads of guests from like people that have been dancing Afro dance for a long time. I will be working with a lot of creatives and trying to, talk about those things. And because I think it was last year in November, I just asked a question on my Instagram, and the question was basically, why are so many people teaching classes? Because what I realized in Dublin, whereas there was over five heels instructors, why? Why? Like, why are we all teaching? For me, it's more of like an egotistical thing. And I say this with confidence because a lot of the people that are popping up to teach do not have the experience to teach. I feel like teaching is, you need to have a calling for it. As much as you can go and learn to do something, but if you don't have the vibe and you don't have people skills, it's hard to retain attention. It's hard to retain people's, way of grasping information of whatever you're going to give. So if I teach Afro for, let's say, 7 years, and then I have a student that just taught for 1 year and they decide to go teach an Afro class, I have a problem with that because what are you teaching? What exactly are you teaching? So I asked the question because I noticed that a lot of heels instructors in Dublin were popping up to teach heels. My best friend Angela, she has a brand called Bevel and Body. She had been teaching for a long time. She went to university for dance. She specialized in loads of styles, particularly hip hop and classical styles, right?
Mhm.
So then she decided to teach her heels classes. with the sole purpose of empowering women on how to embody themselves and not worry about the male gaze or wanting to, feel sexy for themselves and not a man. So that was the basis of her classes, because she even did like meditational work as well. She would take the girls to the beach in the morning at like 5, 6 a.m., have like, um, parts where you can manifest and write down your goals and speak about things that are very difficult, and she would incorporate the heels. So within that, she blew up so much that she taught so many people within Ireland, right? And a lot of her students went off and started teaching like different classes and all that stuff. And it's a very difficult thing for me to see, because most of these people don't have the experience. They haven't traveled to learn in different people from different people. They haven't gone to school for dance, not to say that you do need to, but I do feel like with heels and anything to do with pointing your toes, doing pliés, doing the walk, you do need to have technical training, and most of these people don't. And the question is, why are people teaching? And that question triggered a lot of people,
Mhm.
because nobody was talking about it like as out. It was more of like, oh, this person is doing this and this person is doing this. Then I'm like, let me ask the question so that people can talk, like, let me know. And I do know that I triggered a lot of people, because a lot of people came to me with like, oh, like the reason why I'm teaching is because my mom did the blah blah blah, blah, or like it's always been a dream of mine to teach. And I absolutely understand. But like what we spoke about earlier, patience is a virtue.
Mhm.
Take your time, master your craft. You can't still look like a student in your videos and say, class next week, what are you teaching? You can't grasp choreo, you can't grasp technique. Like I'm very unapologetic about it. Like if you're listening to this and you do think I want to teach, I really think you do need to take your time and know your shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's basically the type of things we're going to be talking about in the podcast. It is not very comfortable, and I'm okay with that, because life is not about comfortability. I believe that we grow when we're uncomfortable, we evolve when we're uncomfortable, and these topics are basically going to be specific and unapologetic and great for people that are creatives. So
I love that so much because, like, let me tell you, the
yeah,
amount of times that people corrected me in this podcast or like afterwards or whatever, it makes
yeah,
me so uncomfortable. It
yeah.
makes me so uncomfortable, but it's so, so, so valuable for yourself to
It
grow.
is. You
And,
grow and it
you
keeps you
know,
accountable.
to, that people tell you stuff. Because, like,
Yeah.
like you said, there's a lot of whispering, a lot of, oh my God, you should not do that. You should not, like, maybe she should not, like, whatever. But, like, why don't you go and tell her,
Tell her.
So,
What's so hard? People are so
exactly.
afraid of offending each other. Like, you're not gonna die if you get offended. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
If you're a good person, I can apologize and we can move on. If not, it is what it is. Like life
It
is
is
too
what it
short
is.
for us to be scared about,
Completely.
oh, I can't correct this person because they're gonna take it the wrong way. If it is wrong, it is wrong, period. There's
Mhm.
nothing you can do about it. Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think like that's the most important thing. That's also like why we're doing the podcast, and I love that you'd start something like that as well. It's
Yeah.
about the awareness, and it's about educating each other.
Yes.
Because like whispering around, pointing each other, like side-eyeing people, it won't get us nowhere in our
Let's be
fucking day.
adults,
It get us
please.
nowhere.
Literally, yeah. Let's just be
Yeah,
adults. I don't see the reason. Like, I don't see the reason.
yeah.
I just feel like as a loving person and an empath, I can't. If I see something, I will tell you. There's no way. And how I tell you is important, because I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're so terrible. You do X, Y, and Z. No, like, baby, this is the right way. It's either you take it or you leave it. But the only thing that I know is that I've done my part in helping the culture. It's always going to be about the culture. If it's about anything else, then it's not okay. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like if a lot of people are offended, because you only get offense when you know that something is wrong. You get
This
what
is
I'm
a
saying?
good point. This is a fucking good point.
You
Because I think,
do. Because if you're
yeah.
doing it for the right reasons, you're doing it for the culture, it shouldn't offend you. When I get corrected on my Instagram about certain names, I'm not offended.
Mhm,
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, because it's for
mhm.
the general public, it's for the culture.
Yes.
So I'm gonna say I got corrected by this person because this is the name. Like they were basically saying, Bato is not the name of this. This is the new name and it's created by this person. And I'm like, Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you so much for adding that to me. And I'll add it. I won't go online and go on a live. Oh my God. People think nobody wants me. Like, stop with the
Yeah.
imaginary haters. Nobody cares. Like, life is too short. I don't think
Mhm.
I spend my time thinking about someone else as much as I do about myself and my own growth. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like at this point, let's just come on, be for real. Be for real right now.
I totally feel you. I think like if I would be offended each time somebody corrects me on here, I couldn't
Ah,
have this podcast anymore. I
come
could be
on.
like, it's not about being offended. It's like, oh my God, yeah, like I was thinking that my whole life. Thank you for bringing a new perspective to me, you know? And
Yeah,
like how I'm going to include into my life is still my responsibility and my choice. But thank you for
100%.
giving me your opinion and your point of view. I love to hear your point of view. And that's so important. And I think
And
that's
I
what our
think
scene needs.
I also do think there's a difference between an opinion and what's right. Like, for example, I
Mhm.
hate unsolicited advice. If I didn't ask for it, I don't need
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
For me, it's like if I need something, I will ask for it, right?
Mhm.
But if I'm doing something wrong, tell me, but don't tell me as an opinion. Oh, I think you should have done this. Oh, I think you should have no.
Mhm.
Tell me like, oh, hey babe, like this is what I saw that works, and
Mhm.
this is what I think you should know. And that's it. There's a difference between giving an opinion and giving a fact or something that's gonna help you. Like,
It's true.
no.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't give you an opinion like, oh, I think your topics of your podcasts are not that's an opinion. You
Yeah.
don't know that. If I'm saying, oh girl, like maybe make sure that if you're using your microphone, do X, Y, and Z,
Mhm.
like that's me helping you and correcting you for yourself to
Exactly.
grow. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a difference
Exactly.
between opinion and like actually giving something to
Yeah.
help something.
It's the intention as well that you have. Because
They
one person
did.
just told me, and I loved how he kind of brought that to me. You
Yeah.
need to kind of you have like the messenger and you have the message. Have to
Yes.
extract the message from the messenger because you have a lot of emotions towards the messenger. But the message itself, take away
Yeah.
all the emotions and think about the message. There
A
might
hundred
be
percent.
emotions included because obviously it's a dance like generally, of course, it's your ego. You have a lot of ego
Yes.
in dance, but
Girl, it's
extract the
hard.
message, you know,
Yeah.
and think about the message without the emotions because maybe that message really has something for you. And I was
Mm,
like, oh my God, this is so, so, so smart because I was like, that opens doors for you to
yeah.
learn even more because I was like, oh my God, that's true. Like I have emotions towards the person. Yes, it makes me uncomfortable hearing stuff. It's
Mm,
fucking uncomfortable if you tell me you might need to, that's like a fact, maybe do it different.
yeah.
But it's the message and it's just the person, whatever the intention of the person is, the message has no bad intention, probably. Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I think that's a very good point for you to bring up because definitely the intention, the message, and how it's received as well is absolutely important in your growth as well as a person, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. This is fun. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you so, so, so much. I would end this interview right here. And my last thing, is there anything else you want to scream into the world? Anything you want our listeners to know? Any like message you have right now?
Oh, that's lovely. I think I've spoken a lot today, but one thing I do want people to do is like you need to just do what moves you. I think life is
Mhm.
literally too short for us to worry about, oh, what if I don't look amazing? Or like, what if, I don't do amazing at this? Or what if somebody judges me? What if? Like, please, we are only here for a limited amount of time. Like, give or take, we have about 60 to 70 years to live. Imagine spending 30 years of your life being stressed about what the next person will say about what you want to do. Just do what moves you. If you know that dance is something that you want to grow in, do the dance, make yourself happy. Nobody pays your bills. Nobody knows how you sleep. Nobody's in your head. Nobody takes care of your mental health. Just do what you want. Like at this point, like I feel like I sound like a broken record when I say it, but I just feel so intense about people just living and being happy. You know what I mean? If traveling makes you happy, save up, quit your job, find something that's remote, travel, live your best life. Like I want to look back into my life and be like, I did that. I did this. I did all of this. You know what I'm saying? I just want to do. I don't want to limit myself based on the basis of what another person might think about what I'm doing. Like at this point, it doesn't matter. And I realized this when my friend was like, oh my God, like you're really not shy about what people think about you because I was dancing on the streets. Then I was like, when I was dancing there, I did not once think, what does the next person think of I'm doing? Or when I speak in my story, I don't ever think, oh, what if this person skips my story? I do what my heart wants me to do. Do you know what I'm saying? So if that's a message I could leave with you today, I just want you to live your best life. Start your podcast, start your dance class after you've trained and learned and done everything else. But
Mhm.
just start, just do it. At this point, what are you doing? You're wasting time. Do it. But yeah, thank you,
That was
girl.
the sign of the universe you guys needed. So
That's literally a sign. It is your sign to do it.
whatever you just had in mind, this was your sign. So you better go take it.
Wow, exactly. Well,
Thank you
thank you
so,
so
so,
much.
so much for everything you just gave us. It was so valuable. It was a lot. To everybody who's still listening, shout out to you guys for taking the time to get the knowledge. It's really, really worth it. So yeah, when we're gonna have you like linked down below everywhere, but is there anything, other website, whatever you want to advertise for, like Instagram?
No, I suppose maybe if you guys want to check out Southside Moves on Instagram and TikTok, I post tutorials, I post live footage from classes of me teaching my beginners. I suppose that's really it. Like, and I have a course right now that I'm selling for beginners. It's a 5-week pre-recorded Afro Steps beginner course where I focus on steps, combos, and I speak a lot about the culture, of course. And I also do have 5 bonus choreographies. So if anybody's interested, you're more than welcome to grab it for yourself. I have a discount code called Afro Steps 5, and you can find that on my website called southsidemoves.com. So yeah, that's about it really. Thank you so much for plugging me, girl.
Of
Thank you for
course.
having me. This was a vibe and a
All
hug.
the time, all the time.
Love, love,
Whenever you
love.
feel the need to speak, you can
Yeah,
come back.
girl. Love to hear it. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you so much. Okay, guys, you know where to find us. And yeah, we're gonna see each other again with a new episode in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.